Davos 2025. The zeitgeist this year has been strikingly, even surprisingly clear, with the inauguration of President Trump, with the recent recalibration of the transformative power of AI, and of course, with the ongoing sense that the victory over inflation is not complete. For all of these reasons, there's a clear sense that we are entering a storm, or perhaps more precisely, the feeling was the same one you see at the top of a roller coaster or of a double black diamond ski slope, a combination of fear and exhilaration. Something is happening, there'll be opportunity, there will be risk, but the energy of that combination was really striking across almost every session and every meeting in which I participated. A few specific things. First of all, geopolitically. It's clear geopolitically that we are in a moment of history where we are very, very vulnerable to cascades of conflict. It's not just the rivalry between the great powers, it's the very weakened legitimacy of the institutions of global governance and the opportunities for brinksmanship that that's creating. Syria is the example par excellence, of course, where the distraction of the great powers, their relative weakness, and neighboring states created an opportunity that was seized. Arguably, Ukraine is a manifestation of that same dynamic. So on the one hand, the geopolitical environment is very vulnerable to increased conflict, but on the other hand, we're seeing evidence that perhaps the risk of conflict is being checked or mitigated by a great power that is explicitly focused on creating peace in a number of key areas. And of course, recent developments in the Middle East about which we are also very, very helpful. In terms of the geoeconomic environment, of course, it seems set that geoeconomic fragmentation will deepen, but there again, the transactional orientation of leading economies can provide a means of adaptive capacity to this new environment. So there is hope that while the economic fragmentation will change, that it will not be linear, and those who can navigate it successfully can actually do very well. Finally, though, the macroeconomic environment. Here it seems clear we're set for volatility. Record levels of global public debt, of course, and the clear and increasingly clear evidence, which we've seen for some time, that announcing the victory over inflation has been premature, that it may prove more stubborn, that the result will be interest rate volatility, given a lot of not just the planned policies, but the economic shocks to which the environment will be subject. And most importantly, of course, this will drive divergence, because the countries carrying that debt, the sovereign risk associated with it, and even more favorable dynamics. For example, the transformation of the financial systems of the world, the emergence of cryptocurrencies. Even those dynamics, to govern them effectively, requires resources that are not equally distributed. So under-resourced authorities will be less able to govern this evolution of the global financial system. And then finally, in that capacity, productivity. We're seeing evidence of a resurgence of productivity. It's not just AI, it's also policy differences. Draghi's report has made clear the distinction between Europe's orientation to economic growth and productivity and competitiveness, and that has emerged in the US over the last several years. So the recipe for productivity increases is becoming increasingly clear. AI has the opportunity to fuel it, but again, access to the ability to harness that opportunity is unequally distributed. And so macroeconomically, the clearest trajectory we can see is one of widening divergence. And then finally, let's just turn to technology itself. Demis Hassabis, Dario Amodei, having the chance to see them in person, it is clear that the next 2 years are going to be decisively important for the geopolitical consequences and manifestation of AI. There's a race, and that race is likely at a certain point to close out over these next 2 years with huge consequences. But what is certain across the circumstances of AI is that over the next 5 years, it is extremely likely to fuel an unprecedented renaissance in scientific discovery and knowledge creation. Agentic AI, its ability to move across domains of knowledge and synthesize, to purposefully design scientific experiments, hypotheses, and go test them. The increasing pooling of knowledge assets in many parts of the world and on many topics that are not sensitive in terms of either national security or competitiveness, and there are many of those, means that especially in domains where scientific knowledge is clear, huge progress will be made. And of course we need it, because the consensus on addressing climate change has diminished. Ceteris paribus, the orientation will be more towards adaptation at the national level, and that makes the importance of technology providing solutions ever more central. Thank you.